I'm pleased to have the opportunity to discuss energy and climate change, although I have to confess I'm still reeling from the speech of the Shadow Secretary of State when, by my count, she talked more about mushrooms than she did climate change, Madam Deputy Speaker. We're here just weeks after one of the most deadly storms on record caused such destruction in Jamaica. A storm which the Imperial College storm model concluded was appreciably stronger and more dangerous because of climate change. Yep. And we are debating this motion in the shadow of comments made by the UN Secretary-General in which he concluded that humanity has failed to keep global heating to below 1.5 degrees. With that backdrop, it's sad to see such a defeatist motion put forward from the party opposite. Yeah. That said, perhaps it's apt that we're debating this on an opposition day because the Conservative motion before us is opposing many of the things that they did in government. The party opposite set up the UK emissions trading scheme in 2021. Now they want to scrap it. The party opposite introduced the levy on the oil and gas sector, and now they want to scrap it. And most shocking of all, look, the Climate Change Act was a Labour achievement in government, but one that for many, many years had support across this House, and of course now they want to scrap it. I absolutely will.
Climate change denies.
The party opposite also privatised the national grid, and were warned at the time in 1989 that this would not lead to the massive investment from the private sector. We are now living with the consequences of that lack of investment over something like 40 years. Does he agree that is another reason why we face such high energy bills, that failure by the party opposite?
Thank you. I agree entirely with my honourable friend. I'm going to go on to talk more about why investment now is good for us in the short term and the long term. Madam Deputy Speaker, this is a genuinely sad state of affairs. There have been Conservatives who have taken the climate very seriously, from the leadership of Lord Deben on the Climate Change Committee to the former Prime Minister Baroness May. I'm even old enough to remember Lord Cameron, then leader of the opposition, imploring people to vote blue to go green. I know I don't look that old, but look, the message is clear. That is no longer what the Conservative Party is interested in. And I intend to address the rest of my speech to those who are still serious in this place about reducing emissions, protecting the planet and doing what is right for the next generation. I will.
For giving me. Speaking of screeching U-turns, when he was campaigning in the election last year, telling his potential constituents that he would lower their energy bills by £300, what's he saying to them now?
I am saying to them, as I'm going to go on to talk about, that investing in a decarbonisation scheme and having warm homes is exactly the way that we get bills down. In a second, but I promise the member from Beverley, I do. But look, Madam Deputy Speaker, just last week I met Tina in Hatfield. Tina is a council house resident and she'd benefited from the social housing decarbonisation scheme. Her home had been retrofitted last year with new insulation, triple glazing and a host of other improvements. She is thrilled with the results. And she told me, most importantly of all, that last winter her monthly energy bill fell from £140 a month to £67 a month. Tina's experience proves that you can cut emissions and you can cut costs. It proves that there isn't a fight between fighting climate change and support with the cost of living, that the two can and must work together. That's precisely why our Labour government has expanded the social housing decarbonisation scheme and why I'm proud that funding for Wave 3 will see more than 600 council homes in Welwyn Hatfield brought up to standard at EPCC by 2028. Hundreds more families I will happily give away.
Generous. We did under the last Conservative government. We went from 7% to nearly 50% renewables. We cut our emissions more than any other major economy on earth. But we also, as has been said, saw electricity prices go very high. And when I was the net zero minister, we were looking at heat, we were looking at transport, we were looking at industry. And the fundamental way of decarbonising each of those is through electricity. How can you do that if you keep driving electricity prices ever higher? And I have to say to the honourable gentleman, I admire his ideological fervour, but we've got to get prices down if we're going to get a balanced approach that looks after families and looks after decarbonisation.
I'm grateful for his intervention, and I recognise that there were improvements made by the last government. But if he's listening carefully, which I'm sure he is, that's the theme of my speech, and from comments on this side of the House. It is so sad to see the Conservative Party walk away from the Climate Act, walk away from being a party that takes these issues seriously. That's the sadness,
Well, about reform.
That's what matters. Look, there are hundreds more families in my constituency who are about to enjoy the same experience as Tina, meaning they can live in warmer homes and have dramatically lower energy bills. Upgrading our homes is the right priority. It is and will continue to yield results, but it does, of course, take time to scale across the country. The same is true of our investment in new nuclear power, the continued growth of all forms of renewables, and mandating that from 2027 every new home must have solar panels on the roof. In parallel, the government is also right to recognise the urgency of now. Energy bills are down from their peak, but still significantly higher than before Putin's invasion of Ukraine. So it is absolutely right that we have targeted plans to ease the pressure on families on lower incomes this winter through the Warm Homes Discount Scheme to 2.7 million families across the country and around 11,000 in Welwyn Hatfield. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Conservative motion today reflects the sad journey of their party. At best, ignoring climate change, and at worst, playing to the climate sceptics who might be plentiful on Elon Musk's X, but there are very few in this country, and I suspect as well in their constituencies. In contrast, this Labour government is absolutely right to invest in warm homes, to back renewable energy, and to declare that tackling climate change is and will remain a national priority.